Hi everyone, my name is Jackson. I am here on the systems engineering team at AGI. Today I'm going to be walking you through a tech tip dealing with the intervals and an interval file that you might use on a scenario. So if you look here at the screen, it's a very simple scenario. We have just a satellite in a basic orbit, but obviously, STK is driven by intervals and analysis intervals, and so it's really important to be able to both visualize and calculate things that we care about. So what I've already done so far is I have created a lighting interval report, and this just shows you, when the satellite is in the sun, when it is half in the sun, and when it's in complete darkness. So what I'm going to do, what I've already done before, is I've actually created an interval list of some relevant times. Let's say that these 5 intervals are really important, and these 5 sunlight intervals are really important. And so what you might want to do to bolster that understanding of that interval is add those intervals into the satellite's properties. And what that does is it allows you to change the way the satellite looks during a certain period of time. You might want to do this just because maybe you don't want to have to be cross-referencing a bunch of numbers and letters every so often as you're looking at the satellite activate or move through the scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the satellite properties, and then I'm going to go down to attributes, and I'm going to click custom intervals because we're putting our own ones in. So what you're going to do is you're going to press load, and you're going to open it. You're going to open to the folder that your scenario is in. And this is also just good practice to make sure that whenever you're doing any sort of scenario analysis or scenario work, you make sure to keep everything relevant to the scenario in the scenario folder. It just makes things easier to find later on. So you'll see that I already have the sunlight intervals list as a .int file already put into this folder because I had already made it and we want to use it. So I'm going to click on the file, press open, and then you'll see that these intervals load into this little chart right here. And you press apply to save the changes and OK to exit out of the box. Now, you'll already see what the main issue is if you zoom in a little bit, is that about half or so of the orbit in this revolution is not visible. So I'm going to play the scenario so you can see the issue a little bit more. So I'm going to up the step size just to speed through it. And you'll see that at a point, basically the satellite disappears, but then eventually it comes back. And you might wonder why that is, and it's a totally understandable thing to wonder about. And basically what it is when you go into the attribute section and you put your own custom intervals, you're telling STK, I'm going to take the wheel and I'm going to drive here. And so I'm going to put in every interval that's necessary. It would make sense to think that I'm only putting in the special intervals, but STK interprets it as you saying I'm putting in all the intervals that we care about. What you need to do is you need to have an interval that you care about. You need to have all the intervals that you care about and then also specify all the intervals that you don't care about. That's kind of a hassle because, maybe you only have one interval and then it takes like 2 seconds, but maybe you have a bunch, maybe you have 5. And then you have to find the right times and sort of sync it up to make sure that you care about the entire scenario interval. So that's what this script that I've written has done for you, is it goes through your pre-made interval file, it reads through, and then it makes a new interval file that has all of the right scenario intervals in it. So we're going to remove all of these first. Yes, we want to remove all the intervals, and then OK to save and exit out. So what you can do is you can open up whatever IDE that you want to use. I personally use Spider, but it should work for whatever. The script is written in Python. So what you're going to do is you are going to navigate to your scenario folder. Again, you want to make sure everything is in this folder. It just helps clean things up. And you should make sure to put this Python script in the scenario folder. And this Python script is available on the AGI GitHub, so you'll be able to download it from there. You're going to open this file, and here we are. So what it does is it reads the path that it's in right now. It takes in the folder, goes through, reads what it needs to read, take the information, and then makes a new file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit run, and it takes about a minute or so. So it's collecting all the necessary information, scenario name, start, stop time, and then it's going to open up the interval. It's going to look at the files. It's going to look at the intervals that are listed there and then fill in any gaps to make sure that the satellite will be visible in the 3D window throughout the entire time. Awesome. So the way that it works is it reads the old file and then creates a new one. The new one will always be called adapted and then whatever the name of the old file is. So originally it was called sunlight intervals list. So you'll see here that we have adapted sunlight intervals list. So we're going to go back to STK. We're going to open the satellite, and we are going to go to the attributes and then custom intervals, and we're going to load again. This time we're going to do adapted sunlight intervals because this has all the ones that we care about, and we're going to press apply, OK, and you'll see that the points where the satellite was previously not working or was previously not showing up, it's filled with the default. So the default before was sort of a light blue line, and so now whenever you're not looking at the sunlight intervals that you care about, it's just a light blue line, and when you are looking at the sunlight intervals, it is a red line, and then everything works. And that is how to use the edit interval file script and how to have fully loaded intervals for your scenario time. Thanks for watching. My name is Jackson, and I hope you enjoyed it.